I'm Wendy Meades, and I'm going to show you how to do some Earth Day art. The supplies you need are watercolor paints. You can just have a big paintbrush. I used a Sharpie for outlining, but you can use an oil pastel as well, or crayon, pencil and eraser for drawing. I used 2 pieces of art paper, and I used watercolor paper. I also used a Posca marker to do some of the background. I used some salt, sea salt or regular salt, whatever you have for the background effects. And I used a little bit of acrylic white paint for the splatters in the background. You also need a water container and a paper towel to wipe your brushes on, some glue, and some scissors. You also need a bowl that you can trace, and you want it to be pretty big to cover a lot of your page. Okay, go grab your supplies. Let's get creative. I'm going to start by tracing a bowl to get the nice round earth shape. And you want your bowl to be as big as you can. And I'm just going to trace the circle with a pencil. All right, and then I'm going to use my Sharpie to outline it, or you can use an oil pastel if that's what you have around. And then the trick to tracing this is just to do a little at a time and keep turning. I don't want to trace my plate with the marker because then it doesn't come off my plate. But if you have something you can trace that you don't mind getting marker on, then you can do that. But I kind of feel like the earth doesn't have to be totally a perfect round circle. It can have some bumps in it because the earth is very interesting shape. Next, I'm going to take some clean water and I'm going to fill this space full of water, but stay inside of the lines. So I'm going to get lots of water on my brush, and I'm going to fill this whole thing in with water. And you want quite a lot of water. And there we go. All right, now, while it's still wet, I'm going to get my watercolors, and I'm going to use blue and green inside to make it look like the earth. And I'm going to have lots of water on my brush while I'm getting the blue. I might even get more water because this is wet on wet. You want very watery paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start dabbing areas of blue and just kind of let the watercolors do their thing. So maybe add more water and blue. Okay, so started like that. Now I'm going to get some green because the green is the land. So we want lots of green, and you want to do like some cool shapes that you might think look like land. Can kind of make it. I know that South America kind of has it. Looks like that. And just keep adding like water and watery paint. And I'm using paints that are quite bright. Like so. Okay, so when you think you have enough sort of green sort of areas, then you want to fill in the rest with blue. And my paper is getting a little dry, so I'm going to add more water. And if they bleed into each other, that's okay. See how they're kind of the blues going into the green, and that's totally fine. Just going to keep adding water and letting it go for it. This is fun. So now I'm just going to make sure that the area is all filled in. Okay, and I've got a little bit of pooling because I used a little bit too much water, so I'm going to show you some fun tricks. So I'm going to dab it now. Dab the water, and the paper towel gives a cool effect. Don't dab all the paint away, just if you have too much water. See that? Can you see that texture? It's really pretty. All right, I like it. So now look at it, and you can come in with like slightly darker now. So not as much water, and we're going to add more green areas that are a little bit standing out a little bit more. Yeah, just sort of dabbing, and see how just adding that little bit of the darker green, it doesn't have to be over all the green, but you just want some of it to be different colors of green. Great, and even, ooh, that really looks cool with that really dark green there. I like it. So I'm just using less water. There's still water on my brush, but I'm just using less. Maybe I want some green over here. Okay, and then you just want to make sure your whole circle is filled in with the blue and green. There's no white area. See how my edges here, I have a little bit of white, so I'm just going to add some paint there. And there we have a beautiful earth with lots of interesting details inside. I feel like this area needs, like, you can kind of change the shape too. Like this looked kind of straight, so I'm adding some edges that are more curved. There, beautiful. I'm going to let that dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to do a fun background. So I'm going to cut this out and put it on a different background. So now we're going to do our background, and this time we don't want to use as much water because we want our paints to be super dark. So I'm going to start with like a dark purple. I have this set here that has like quite a dark purple, and I'm just going to start adding it to my background with a little bit of water on my brush. Just some nice dark purple. Ooh, there's a nice dark purple. I like that. You can make your purple darker. If you don't have a dark purple like this, you can make it darker with black as well. Ooh, I like that color. That looks cool. And add water to make it run more, spread out. And then after I do the purple, I'm going to do some black. That looks great. So you see, I'm not making it totally equal. Some areas are darker, some are lighter, and I'm kind of going back and forth. And then I might add a little bit of black just to make it a little darker maybe. Just in some areas. You can do the whole thing black too if you want, if you think that would look good. I mean, a lot of this is going to be covered up by the earth. Okay, there, I kind of like that. Now I'm just going to do one more layer with wet paint, so make sure it's nice and dark and wet, and then we're going to put the salt on top. Okay, so let's put the salt on top, and hopefully we'll get hopefully it will look like stars a little bit. I think with this salt, it's because it's so thick. It's sea salt, it needs to sit a little bit and dry. So while that's drying, we can cut out our earth. Hopefully it's all dry there. I'm going to let that do its thing. And I'm going to cut out the earth while that's dry. So I'm just going to cut out this earth. It's all dry now. It doesn't have to be totally dry. You just don't want it running. I'm going to try and keep that black outline. So I think it would really stand out with that. Oh, it looks so great. You can see once it dries, you can see the darks and lights. Once the background is dry, you can wipe off the salt. So I'm going to do that over a sink or a garbage. So you can see that the salt made some cool effects because my dark one was nice and dark, and then the salt sort of absorbs the water where it's sitting. So you can leave your background just like this and add your world and glue it on top once both of these are dry. You can outline it. You can add more things to here if you want. You could do an alien, or you could do stars or anything. I'm going to add some white paint so that it looks even more like stars. Some white. I'm using acrylic paint, but you can also use tempera paint. And I'm going to do a little bit of splatter on my background. So one idea is to put the paint on the back of your paintbrush, and you can just do dots like that, which is very nice. And I don't have to do them in the center because I know my earth's going to be there. So you can do some dots that look like stars. You can take like a marker that's white. This is a Posca marker. You can do some like shooting stars if you want from the paint. Do some lines. That one turned out really well. You can do some shooting stars like so. Just do a few. Ooh, I like it. You can also get a little bit of water on your brush and some white paint, a pencil or marker, and tap on top. So tap, 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 tap. And then you get some more effects. And again, you don't have to do it that much in the center, just on the outsides, because you know your earth is going to be there. Doesn't that look pretty? Oh, I love it. So my background is all dry, and now I'm going to glue my earth onto it. You can figure out kind of where you want it if you want to add other planets. I'm going to do mine pretty much in the center, and I'm just going to use this stick glue. So I'm going to get the edges. Get the edges, and then I'll place it on my art. But make sure this is dry, otherwise it won't stick. And just kind of figure out where you want it. I'm going to put mine there. Press it down. And we have a beautiful piece of art. There we go. I might integrate it a little bit by outlining it in black again, just to make it integrated in. Or the other idea I was thinking is I could put some paint around it too, so it kind of glows. Yeah, I'm just going to outline this. There's my finished project. It looks so cool. I love all the details with the background looking like space, and then the wet on wet in the earth. And add anything you want to your background. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you liked this video, don't forget to press like and press the subscribe button for more fun with kids.